Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and today I'm going to do a VR to tarot and witchery. She made a tag called Halloween Party Decks, and now I'm not a party person. My idea of a good Friday night is indoors by myself with a book and a blanket and a cup of hot chocolate or tea or something. That's my sort of party. But I'm going to do this anyway because it was fun to watch. So there we go. The first prompt is the perfect host, the deck that sets everything up perfectly for you in a read. And this one was sort of surprising for me. It's, Tarot of Persephone's Garden. And hopefully the glare will not be too appalling. But this deck, what I mean by surprising is, I was surprised how easy it was to read. So I use it for my garden, particularly the aspect of gardening that involves death and composting and recycling and, you know, all that sort of, that part of the cycle, although there are a lot of spring cards in here too. And yeah, I was not expecting this sort of artwork to be, as much as I love it, to be this easy to read. But actually it's brilliant. It works really well. And it's very intuitive. And I don't have to really work at anything, which is not what I was expecting when I got this deck. So that was kind of a lovely surprise. The next prompt is Party Decor. The deck that is all about the aesthetic of Halloween for you. So I don't have a lot of Halloween-y things because I grew up in a fundamentalist community and we didn't really do Halloween. So it's not super, you know, hugely important for me. But I do like fall. Spring and fall are my favorite seasons. And so the aesthetic of Halloween has a lot of overlap with the aesthetic of fall, the Thanksgiving time for me. Thanksgiving in Canada is very soon. As I'm recording this, it's going to be in like 4 days. It's way too late in the US. But I guess you guys have a different harvest season time. Anyway, the Heartwood Tarot is my fall aesthetic. I don't have a lot of witchy Halloween-y decks, although there is a new Halloween deck out that I think is US games, which means it's not available in Canada at the same time that it is in the US, so I will hold off on. Oh, that's so cute and cozy though. Like, fall is very much the cozy season for me. And winter, because you're curled up inside and can't go anywhere, but like, so cute and cozy. And if I was going to decorate my house in the style of fall, and I mean, my apartment doesn't really have a lot of space for decorations because it's already mostly filled with books, but if it did have space for more decorations, this is what it would end up looking like. Some sort of witch's cottage in the woods situation. Which really would be an all year round aesthetic for me, to be honest. It wouldn't just be around the fall and Halloween. So, yeah. But I enjoy seeing everybody else's Halloween decorations. So, like, I'm not anti-Halloween. I just don't have that sort of childhood nostalgia about it. But yeah, it's fun to watch other people's Halloween-y sort of videos and things and see their, you know, lawn decorations. Some people really go all out, which is quite fun. Okay, the next one is Comfort Food, the deck that always satisfies, leaving you feeling good. And I think Tarot and Witchery put this down, or the Oak, Ash, and Thorn down, so this is the Thistle down by the same people, as a deck that was less intuitive for her. But I can't remember which deck it was. It might have been the Oak, Ash, and Thorn, I can't recall. Anyway, this one is just so sweet. and comfortable. And for me, this is easy to use. I don't use it as often as I probably should. I'll leave it out now that it's out, since, you know, it is that time of year. But look at that. It's so pretty. I love Adam Miller's artwork so much. Thistle. Sorry, I got distracted by the pretty things. Anyway, this deck always makes me feel good, even the ones that are a bit challenging. And the decks, all of their decks do that, like, they don't shy away from the challenging cards, but they make them more manageable somehow. I don't know, like, they're still comforting even when they're not comfortable. So yeah, this is my, like, how cute is that? I could just say that for every card in this deck, so I will stop now. Bobbing for apples is the next prompt. A deck that, as I struggle with another tuck box, because I'm bad at these, a deck that is hit or miss. Sometimes it's right on, and other times you are left empty-handed. And for me, for fall-themed decks anyway, that's the Tarot of the Sweet Twilight, because I've used it sometimes and it works for me, and then sometimes I don't know, I don't get it. There's a missed connection here somehow. And I mean, probably I just need to spend more intensive time. Sorry if I sound funny, by the way. I have had a cold all week. It's very exciting. But I probably just need to spend more intensive time with it, which I haven't really done, to be fair. So it might not be that it's never going to work for me. It might just be that I haven't gotten to know it well enough yet for it to work. Like, some decks I don't have to, and I just, like, pull out the Heartwood Tarot and it works for me, you know, right away. This one, not usually. I mean, every now and again, but not usually. So, yeah, I don't know. I really want to like it, because I find the artwork so intriguing. And it does suit this time of year quite nicely, but I don't know. The messages get stuck in limbo somewhere. And I just don't know. Like, that's so cool. Yeah, I really do like this deck. The artwork is intriguing, even if it's a bit strange. But I don't mind strange sometimes. What's next? Oh, the next one, I think they're about the next 4 or 5 are the costume prompts. So this is the Werewolf Costume, a deck that brings transformation. And for that, I chose the Witch Sisters Tarot, because this is my one now of 2 Spirit Flight decks for me. So this is a very sort of spiritual deck for me. And whoops, very glary, sorry about that. And it's not quite traditional, really. It's not traditional in a lot of ways anyway. But it gets to the heart of something, and I don't always know quite what, but yeah, I do use it for meditation a lot, and for hit writing and stuff. So yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorites now. Even though it's quite new, it's already a favorite. For that, so that's my transformative deck, I would say. All right, sorry, little coughing break. The next one is the Vampire Costume, a deck that you can only do a few cards lest you feel drained. So, okay, fair warning, this deck is not for everybody and is really, whoops, really intense. So, you know, if that's not your thing, you've been warned. This is, it's the Shadow Myths company. They do D&D stuff. And I don't, but I saw this on probably Dawn Michelle's channel, but I can't remember for sure. And this is actually 2 of their oracle decks put together. So you can get it either in this size, like the plain card size, or an oracle size. Like, you know, I can't deal with a lot of that. But every now and again, it's really intriguing. I think that's quite Halloween-y. It's not a cute and fluffy Halloween. There is nothing cozy about this deck whatsoever. So yeah, I use it like twice a year. Because it's a bit much, really. But it's really interesting. So yeah, and I don't really have, because I only use it a couple times a year, I don't have I think that's I don't know, I really like that card. I don't have a lot to say about it, so no profound thoughts on this one other than best be prepared, I guess. So that's the Shadow Myths. Yeah, that's what it's called. And it comes in the most annoying box that I can ever get working properly. Ghostly Apparition, the deck that disappears and shows up unexpectedly in your collection. So it's not really unexpected, but a lot of decks that are more seasonal do disappear and then reappear at the next appropriate season. And one of the ones that does that is the Death Doula Oracle. So this I usually just have out in the winter. I might leave it out for fall now that the trees are starting to turn and everything. It's a very late fall for us here in Alberta. It's usually, our first big frost is in early September, and it is now mid-October. And we still haven't had a hard frost. We've had a little bit of frost, but not much. It's so weird. Like, things are supposed to be starting to go dormant now. And some of them just aren't. It's super weird. Anyway, like tomatoes are still growing in October. That never happens here. Climate change is weird, yo. Yeah, so I might leave this out. Because, like, on the one hand, at the end of gardening season, it's sometimes a relief. Because I actually can't imagine growing somewhere where you grow all year round, because I do like a break in here. I do like having 4 seasons, even if the ones I like the best are really, really short. But it is like the period of dormancy where everything sort of resets is really important for a lot of the plants around here, and the climate change is actually causing some problems because plants, well, I mean, maybe trees are people. I'm not opposed to that idea. Are not always getting the length of time that they need in dormancy, and then it'll get too warm too soon, and they'll bud out at the wrong time, and then it'll freeze again, and it causes all sorts of problems in, like, the fruit industries in particular, but just for a lot of plants that I like generally. Sorry, my throat's doing a funny sounding thing again. Oh well. But yeah, I really like the keywords on these and the images. They're just, I don't know, they're very abstract, a lot of them, but they're intriguing. And there is a lot about the breakdown in the world. There are 2 that I don't like. This is one of them. There's an orange one that's like that I don't like. But other than that, if you want to sort of get comfortable with breakdown or compost or death or any of sort of the end of a cycle as just a normal part of things, this is really great. Also, just the experience of gardening is really great for that, because you can't avoid it. That'll happen whether you want it to or not. So that is the Ghostly Apparition. The next costume one is a zombie costume, your deck in tatters. So I know a lot of people like to keep their decks as pristine as possible. I'm always a bit jealous of people who have decks that are actually in tatters, because I haven't been doing this long enough yet to have decks. Like, I've only been doing this for about 4 or 5 years, 4 years, three or four, I don't know, somewhere in that ballpark. Not really very many. So I picked one that has tattery elements, which is the Craft Decadence Oracle. Because there are parts that look like they're sort of falling apart, which is, you know, the point of this sort of decadence, where it turns to rot and decay. There's a bit of that. It's quite interesting. So yeah, but I look forward to the day where I have a deck that's really in tatters, because I mean, like, I do take care of them, but eventually they wear a little bit. But I think that when people use decks that are really worn like that, I think that they're really beautiful. I don't know, pristine is a bit overrated. If it's in tatters, it's been well used and well loved, presumably. So yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing, and not something to, like, begrudge happening to a deck. So yeah, this is as close as I've got at the moment. It's not actually in tatters, it just has tattery, you know, bits. Like, it's meant to look a bit worn, which is cool. The next one is Witchy Costume, your favorite witchy deck. So I don't really have a lot of, like, aside from the Witch Sisters, which I already used, which I could use for this one as well, I don't have a lot of like, I don't really have decks with witches in them or anything like that. But the deck that I do use is the one that I've made for myself, the Prairie Herbalist Tarot, because I use this as well for, like, along with the Witch Sisters, for spirits, spirit communication, path walking, hedge riding, whatever you want to call it, that sort of thing. Can't find a milk thistle one for the winter. I am working on a winter version of this deck so that I can connect with the full life cycle of some of these plants. If I remember, I'll put some photos in, but I might not remember, so we'll see. Anyway, this is very spring and summery, so it doesn't have really a lot of fall energy, but it's still, I'm also trying to learn the more just about the plants, like their botanical names and herbalism bits and just all sorts of things. So yeah, these are my plant spirit cards, which is a bit, to me, that's witchy. That might not be everybody's definition of witchy, but that's what it is for me. So there we go. All right, the next one is Blood and Guts, the deck that cuts you to the core. Use at your own peril. So I guess I could have used the Shadow Mist for that, but I picked, this is the most blunt deck I think I've got, which is the Steampunk Mini, which is the first tarot deck I ever got. I edge it in black, and sometimes Sharpie still comes off on my hands because I didn't use the whatever other kind of marker that doesn't do that. But this one, yeah, it's not messing around. It's so tiny. Hang on, I'll zoom in for a second. It's so tiny. But this was my first deck because I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it, and I just wanted to try it. And it works. It sure does work. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. So if I want to know something, I will know it in a very straightforward and not soft and cozy sort of way. But it really is. Like, I don't use it very often because that's not usually what I feel like I need, but just every now and again. It's good, really good for that. And it's a bit sentimental. Tripped over that word. Sentimental for me because it was my first deck, so it's not going anywhere. Plus it's really tiny, so it takes up just a smidge of my shelf space. Okay, had to take another coughing break. That was super fun. The next prompt is couples in costume, the perfect pair of decks for this season. So, to be honest, I haven't used this as a pair yet, but I did see it on a couple people's channels, and I really like how they live together. So when I actually do this, I will use them together, and they look. I mean, ooh, I'm having all sorts of coordination and speech issues at the moment. It's great. This is the Urban Crow Oracle with the Medieval Feathers Tarot. So I really like this Medieval Feathers. I have the Gay Marseille as well. I haven't used a lot of Marseille because I'm still very much learning it, and I'm not very good at open readings. So this is fun because it has keywords, which is great and very helpful for me. I don't know if they're traditional keywords or not, but I'll go with it when I'm using this deck anyway. And I'm not like a birder. I like birds, except sometimes the pigeons on my balcony drive me a bit around the bend because they are relentless. Like nothing will faze them. Zero things. Anyway, not the point. The point is, I got this because I thought it might help me with learning the Marseille, and I haven't used it a lot yet. And then I really can't remember whose channel I saw this on, but it worked for me. So I thought I probably should use the Urban Crow Oracle as a sort of jumping off point, and then try and muck about a bit with the Medieval Feathers and see how that goes. Because they are, yeah, there's a bit of glare. Oh well, everybody knows what the Urban Crow looks like. And if you don't, it's very easy to find. But yeah, I really like the Urban Crow because I am in an urban setting. I don't have a lot of urban decks because in my mind I live in a cottage in the woods. But since I don't actually live in a cottage in the woods, I do use this sometimes, particularly in the fall, because it just feels very fall. To connect with some of that, because I don't really like a lot of the other urban decks I've seen, but this one I can get on with. I don't mind this one. Ooh, these cards are really, those ones were stuck together. So yeah, this will be my fall experiment, although I do want to use the Gay Marseille a bit as well, but oh well, maybe I'll use both. Or save the Gay Marseille for more winter. I don't know yet. I debate a lot with myself for no reason. Like, why do I debate with myself? No idea. Anyway. Ooh, I did have not a white crow, but an albino pigeon on my balcony today. That was weird. There are a few of those in town, but not a lot. Anyway, that's couples in costume. And then, oh, oops, back in a sec. Okay, just had to get myself organized there. The last prompt is no costume, a no frills deck. Oh yeah, the no frills deck. Someone always refuses to dress up, but we love you anyway. Yeah, I don't dress up, sorry. I'm that person. I'm very bad at this sort of thing. I don't think I've actually dressed up for anything since about elementary school. But anyway, for this one, I picked the Soul Mirror Oracle, which is, it sort of seems very plain, which I guess it kind of is. It's more minimalist. Don't know why I had trouble with that word today too, at least in most of the cards, but it's also very straightforward to me. Straightforward, but with interesting branching off points. If I was going to do the mind mapping way of doing a tarot reading that Tarot Magpie talked about the other day. I actually don't know if it was the other day or not, because I just was catching up on watching YouTube videos in a playlist that I put together of things I mean to watch, and then sometimes get to like 2 months later. So it might be recent, it might not be recent. Anyway, the point is, I should probably use this for that. It would probably work really well. But yeah, I actually had a hard time with this one because I don't really feel like I have, I mean, I'm not really a minimalist, except in the way I dress, I suppose. But like in my apartment or in my books or in my tarot reading or anything, like I'm not a minimalist. So I found this a bit difficult to do, especially just trying to keep 2 fall, like decks that feel like fall to me. So this was the best I could come up with. And this is another one like the Death Duel Oracle that disappears and reappears because I only use it usually in the fall and winter, because by the time spring rolls around, or even just before spring, like March, I want something more colorful, because I'm getting tired of gray at that point. So yeah, that is the Halloween party decks video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.